Now we're gonna take the picture of infected leaf to detect the disease in a plant. Okay, so welcome to Techno Learning, and in this video we're gonna develop plant disease detection app using Android Studio and machine learning model. Okay, so let me start Android Studio and then we're gonna create this project from scratch. So click on create new project and then you have to choose this empty activity and give in the name as I'm giving it as plant disease detection. Okay, and make sure the language chosen is Kotlin as we're gonna code this project using Kotlin language. Okay, so this is really important, and then you have to click on finish. Okay, and now we have to wait until the project is set up. So here you can see these three files, and these are the important files as we're gonna use TensorFlow Lite model for this application, and then one image is also there. Okay, also you will able to find the links of these things within the description, and I have to make a asset folder here to place those files here. So right click on app and then go to new. Again you have to choose asset folder here and then you have to click on finish. Okay, and now within this asset folder you have to paste that items that you have copied. So Control V, and here you can see that. So these files can be downloaded by the link provided in the video description. And now the drawable folder will be needing some pictures or items here, so we'll be copying out this. So all these things will be able to download as I have provided the link within the video description. So just click on that link and download these. Okay, now we have this manifest here and we have to add a permission here. Before this I have copied the resources within the drawable and then copied the asset within the asset folder. Now I'm in the Android manifest and I'm providing the permission here, permission for camera, as we're gonna use the camera also within the application. Now go to build Gradle, and within this build Gradle we have to add few things. Okay, and what will be those things? Like we have to add dependencies here, and now within this we have to add one more thing, that is I think apt model. So like apt options, as we're going to use a Kotlin here, so to like no compress. Okay, so why we are using this? We are using this as the Android Studio compiles the files and make them compressed form. Okay, so we don't want that. That's why we have written that line. Don't compress the model, because this app works only on that model. Okay, and now we have to provide some IDs here within the plugins regarding that to Kotlin. So I'm just giving that Kotlin Android extension, and now it is Kotlin capped. Okay, here you can see that I have provided the compile SDK version and all these things, and now we'll be needing that multi-dex enabled here. Okay, so just one more function like this. Okay, now the important thing, we have to provide dependencies, and dependencies are the most important thing for a project in Android, as we provide the link for these dependencies so that it can be downloaded. Okay, so now we have to write the same keyword, but before that let me check if anything else is left out or not. Okay, now within this implementation, and we have to write it implementation, and after writing the implementation we have to provide that dependency here with version number. Okay, so it is for TensorFlow, and TensorFlow Lite is made up for mobile devices, as to use machine learning models on Android phones we can use this platform. Okay, so TensorFlow is for that purpose here, TensorFlow Lite, and its version is giving there. Also you can read about it more on the internet if you want to get more knowledge about it. Okay, and now one more, that is we have to write the implementation first, then Android X, and then it is a card view actually, so we need more views. So for more views like card view or recycler view, we need to add them separately within the dependencies. Okay, so I've added the card view here, and after adding the card view, now I'm gonna add this new dependency. So write implementation, then com.github. Here I'm adding one custom dependency here, that is a progress button. Okay, so I'm adding it here, and then we have to provide the version for this, and the version is provided again one more dependency. So for this dependency, what you have to write, just have to write implementation, then com.infd. Okay, it's for the navigation drawer actually. So this is also like modern kind of UI that we usually use in the applications. So this dependency will provide the drawer for that. Okay, and it's like adding the version number here. So it's like that. Again we have to add one more dependency, so we have to write implementation, and then we have to provide all the informations regarding that particular dependency. Okay, so now like adding the dependency, we have to use these, and then within that inverted commas we have to provide this. So for code link ATX, so Android X core, we have provided it. Okay, so now one more, so write the same thing again and again, but you have to differentiate these things between that codes. Okay, so this is also one of the important dependency, and it is for the bottom navigation. Okay, so it is also the custom one. Make sure that you are writing correct code. There should be no spelling mistakes. Pause the video and you can just check your spellings and the version number for these dependencies. Otherwise you will be able to face errors. So to bypass them, double check everything. Okay, now the legacy support. Legacy support means to support some old views that you might use within this project. So for that we are providing that. Again, to write implementation here, and then within the implementation you have to write all these things. So here the navigation, it is as the previous one in the card view that I already told you about it, that some views within this Android that you need to add them separately by dependency. One of them is card view, then we have that navigation, and again I'm adding its, like, I have added the navigation fragment first and now the navigation UI. Okay, so everything that comes after Android X, or mainly the Android X, is an official dependency that's provided by Google, and other things like that starts with com.github, or these are the custom ones, and these are contributed by various developers across the globe. Okay, so now Android support multi-tags, so the version is needed, giving the version successfully, and now again we have to give it like this. So it is life cycle, as we gonna have to use the machine learning model and to make a model work on a mobile device, so we have to take care of the kernel of the mobile device. So we need all these things like core support and lifecycle support for applications on a mobile device running on Android operating system. And operating system of a mobile device, mainly the Android one, is based on Linux. Okay, so kernel is important. Now we have to create few Kotlin classes. So for that we have to create the activities first, not the class. So I'm creating the activity firstly. So just you have to right click on that Java and then new, then activity. Again I'm showing for the new activity, right click here, go to new, and then you have to go to activity, and then you have to choose empty activity and you have to give the name. Okay, so the previous activity I have given the name as common remedy, and here I am giving the name as about. Okay, so these two activities are created. Perfect. Now we need to start work on our layouts, and layout means the design part. So let's wait for the activity to be created. So both the activities actually created. Now within this layout you need to create some layout resource files. So right click and then new, then go to layout resource file. Here we have to give the name app bar main. Okay, and then we're gonna create one more here, and again I have to do it till I have messed up. Okay, so this one, and then write nav header main. Okay, so this has to be like included within the main activity. Okay, so this is app bar main XML, and we need to edit this, and after editing this we have to give a perfect layout that we want to show. Okay, so I'm within this app bar main XML and I have to design it. So first of all, remove this constraint layout, and instead of that constraint layout we have to add the coordinator layout here. Okay, and then we have to add few properties for it. Okay, so for now I'm adding a app bar here. So the app bar needs its width and height as match parent and wrap content respectively. Now we have to add the theme. So I'm adding the theme from style like theme overlay dot app combat. Within this app bar layout we have to add a toolbar. Okay, so the toolbar is also require the width and height as match parent and height should be equals to action bar size. Okay, and now the ID for this toolbar is given as toolbar. Okay, again we have to give the background for it, so I'm giving the background color as the teal one. Okay, so we have the teal, and you can also find the teal color hex code on Google if you search for it, and you can directly use that hex code instead of this. And now I need to add this style, or you can also leave it if you don't want to add it. Okay, no issue. Now I'm removing that, and instead of that, what we're gonna use is to okay, that is not there within the app subpart, so I've closed that toolbar. And in the right side of your screen you can see the design part within that small mobile screen. Okay, and for now what we're gonna do is, let's check, and then we're gonna add a card view here. Okay, so as I've already told you that we added the card view using the dependency of it, so now we are using it. And if the dependencies are not synchronized, then we cannot use them. So make sure that you have provided the dependencies well, and then you will able to get that item. Okay, otherwise you will be facing error, or this card view yellow line will turn out to be red in color. Now I have added the properties for this particular card view as follow. As you can see, the width, height and margin, and then the background color, again the elevation and gravity. Of course, card view needs to be added few more things to make it more attractive, such as corner radius. So the card view is completed, and within this card view we're gonna need to add few more items, or we just have to include what we need to include more views. Okay, and then finally we'll be using this app bar main XML within the main activity. Okay, so now the constraint layout is being used here, and for that the width and height is provided as match parent and match parent. Again we need to add the background. So this background is a custom background that we provided you within the resource folder. That is also the part of the asset, and you can download them from the video description, and then you can place the images within the drawable folder. Then you will able to use them, as I have used that image for the background of that constraint layout. And within the constraint layout I need to add 3 buttons. The first button is for camera, then second button is for detect, and the third button is for gallery. Like we can either click the photo from camera, or we can choose the photo from gallery. Then after choosing or clicking, we need to click on detect so that the disease can be detected. Okay, so added the button here and provided the properties for this button, such as text color and padding, text, all these things. So you can see the text is camera. I've already informed you. Now as we are using the constraint layout, so we need to add the properties related to it. Okay, so that it can be adjustable according to that. That's very important. Why it is showing red? Because the particular ID is not created for that view. That's why it's showing red. Don't worry about it. Now this constraint end to end and make it parent. Okay, Again, few more properties we need to add for this. Okay, so as constraint horizontal bias, and set it as this 0.073, 0.873, it is okay. And now again the properties for this, like to end off, start to end off. Then we need to add the final one, that is top to bottom off. So I've added that, and then we need to provide the ID for that. That's why it's showing error, because this particular layout or view is not created yet. Copy this button part, as we need to create 3 buttons. Already told you about this, so just paste it below that. Okay, so I've pasted that, and now you just need to make few modifications, such as you need to change the ID, and then what we're gonna use here is margin from start. Make it 22 dp, and then like padding is 13 dp is correct. We need to add the change the text also. So I'm changing the text as gallery. Like if you want to choose a picture from your gallery, then you can click on that button, then you will be able to see the gallery, and you need to add the picture to detect the disease. Okay, so the text color is added, and now the same thing, as the parent layout is constraint layout, then we have to provide these properties to the children of that particular constraint layout, so that it can be adjustable to any position available on the mobile screen. Okay, so this button is completed, and now what else we can see here? Now the properties of this button, and after that I've copied that, and then now the properties of this button. And for that I have to change the ID first of all. So here I am changing the ID, and what should be the ID for this button? Like I have to choose it very carefully. So let me check. I don't think that we need a button here actually. So it's a photo image view. Okay, then what should we do next? Let me check. Okay, so let me delete this, and then I'm gonna go with image viewer. Okay, so for this the width should be 270 dp, and the height for this image view will be 290 dp. No issues. And then few more properties for this, such as margins, and then we have to add the background for this image view. So the background picture is taken from the drawable, and the resources that I have shared in the video description, you can find this image there. Okay, then we have this content description, where we have to write something like view display image or whatever you want to write. Then we have to scale it according to the size of the image view, such as width and height. So I've chosen fit XY up to those coordinates. Then we are using the properties of the constraint layout, that is a parent layout for this view. Okay, so we have to adjust that. Now you can see in the right side of the screen the picture appears there. Okay, and as we are adding the properties of the constraint layout, it's changing the position. That's why we are using this. Okay, so it's really good. Now we are giving this padding of 29 dp here. Okay, no worries. And now what next we gonna do is to add some more view. Yeah, we have to add one more view here. So let me copy that button. Now we need that button here. Okay, so the button will be added, and as I've already told you that if we are adding the button, then we have to change the properties such as ID. ID is one of the most important thing that has to be changed for a different view. Okay, then few more properties such as margin and all these things, and of course the properties for that constraint layout that are related to constraint layout will also change. It's quite obvious. Okay, and we have to change the text also. So here I'm changing the text, and then let me see what else can be changed. Okay, so let me remove all these three, and then now I gonna add them according to the need. So the first property is like that, bottom to top of the result text view. And why it is appearing to be red in color? Because this view is not created yet. That's why it is appearing in red color. And after this button, we gonna complete that text view for the result. And few more properties related to this constraint layout we are adding here. No issues. Let me add them, and then we gonna close it. Okay, finally this button is done. And the last thing, that is that particular text view that's causing that red lines, that's the text view only. So adding the text view here, and we have to give the height and width for this text view. So I'm giving them such as the width is added as 300 dp and the height is choose to be wrap content, and of course the ID will be same as we used in earlier views, that is that M result text view. Okay, now the properties such as shadow color are being added here, and then the text, so we are leaving it empty, and this text view will responsible to show you the result actually. When you gonna take the picture from camera or choose the picture from the gallery, then you gonna click on detect, and after processing it with machine learning model, the result will appear within this text view. So that's why we are using this text view. So it is also the crucial view. Okay, and now the text size and text color we have chosen red, so that it can be differentiate from the background color and appears to be more look taking. Okay, and then these properties of the constraint layout, we need to add them here. So I'm adding like this, start to start off, and all these things we need to add bottom to bottom of, and this one image. Okay, so almost all the errors has gone, but there is some problem with these buttons, so we need to correct the posture of these buttons actually. Okay, so this has to be in one line, but it is coming in a step-wise manner, and we need to correct it. It may be an issue of margin and all these things, Let me remove that. Okay, now this button, let me see what is the issue with this button. Okay, then I gonna correct that issue. So here let me see what it is causing the issue, or we can use more properties to get it corrected. Okay, so let me check either the margin or padding will affect it, or we will remove something to get it like this. Okay, so here I'm checking all these things like properties that I have added, but it is showing that blue color. Okay, no issue. This one, third one, now we have, and then we have to just check view wise so that it can be corrected. Maybe a issue comes from the constraint layout properties. It is quite possible actually, or it may be another issue. So let me check if I remove these particular properties whether it will affect the position or not. Yeah, it is affecting the position. Now we can pick up the margin from the top side so that it can be fixed at a particular position. Okay, so giving this margin such as this one 40 dp up to. Okay, perfect. Now everything seems to be quite clear, just like a question. Okay, so this view or this XML file containing many views are completed. Okay, the views are completed, and with those views the XML also complete. So now let me just finish this, and then what we gonna do is to just remove this extra space which is causing here. Okay, and I'm scrolling it. If you have messed up at any way, then you can correct your code, and then we got to move to different XML. After removing this extra space that's appearing here as a hurdle. Also in Android Studio, if you are making a line empty, then that line also take or consumes the memory. So make sure that you are using lines in a method way. Okay, so actually I missed something here, and then I have to add it also. Like we need to add a bottom bar so that we can use that to move to different fragments, and we need to add the dependency, or we have to check whether the dependency is working or not, and why it is not working. Because if the dependency is added successfully, then it must work. So I am searching it, Ibrahim Sin smooth bar. So it's a custom dependency, and this will appear. So I think we have missed some steps so that it can be work. So we have to add them. So let's check. Here it is usage, and then what we see, let's check. Little down, and then we need to add it like within the Gradle files. So we have added the data within one Gradle file. We might have missed the data within the first one. So here you can see this one. Okay, so we have missed first two steps and applied the third one only. So now we have to copy it and then go to Gradle, build.gradle, the first one, and then here we have to add it. So just a space and then try to add it like this. Perfect, no issues. And we have to add it here also. Now we're gonna click on sync now, so that the project can be synchronized, and then forth we'll able to add the dependency. Okay, let's leave it aside. We'll complete it after another XML. It's not a big issue to us. So for now it is downloading actually. So we are within this main XML.